buddy.
Hi, guys. Well, from blustery springtime in Salt Lake City,
It's Thank God I'm Atheist.
the podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher.
And coming up on today's show, we got Easter coming up in just a short little while.
Spring is in the air.
And so we thought we'd do a little talk about what a weird fucking holiday that is.
It is weird.
Yeah.
And,
So we have some observations.
and we're not even going to get into the whole, like, all of the pagan... Like the actual, like you can go and everybody talks about the origins of Easter. We're just going to talk about the experience of just Easter.
Yeah.
In a largely Christian country.
Yeah, so we got that coming up. And in the meantime, Dan,
Yeah.
I've got
do
a
some
few
stories?
I got some stories.
We should probably do some stories.
New York City, Dan,
The Big Apple.
home to a diverse population, varied. People coming from all over the world.
8 to 9 million people
every religion represented.
living in harmony.
Every walk of life present.
Not living in harmony. Often not living in
Often not. However, one of the groups that gets a little bit of attention from this show,
harmony.
the Orthodox.
The Ortra.
The
The Oprah Orthodox.
The ultra
Jews.
Orthodox Jewish community that
Yes.
specifically they're talking about a group of people in Brooklyn,
Okay.
which is where I would assume is anyway.
There are enclaves.
Enclaves.
That are just like most of the neighborhood.
Yes.
Is ultra Orthodox.
Exactly. Well, this is there's a measles outbreak in Williamsburg, in Brooklyn.
Oh man.
And Mayor de Blasio has declared a state of emergency,
Yeah.
or public health emergency, and a crisis. And the city is ordering people to be vaccinated against measles.
Wow.
Now, they cannot show up with a syringe and just force it on you.
Just stick you.
But they can charge you or fine you $1,000
Wow.
for refusing to be vaccinated. So, and like I was saying, this is now what's interesting about the ultra orthodox is that this is not ultra. It's not the community at large. It's not all of Orthodox Judaism.
There's no
that
rabbi
says,
has
don't
said,
get vaccinated.
Yeah, it's not a consensus that Orthodox Jews don't vaccinate.
But there is apparently a large contingent
Yeah.
of them that are anti-vaxxers.
And we've talked about
of
this
just
before.
members of the community. Yeah.
Well, you know what this is?
What?
This is Mayor de Blasio trying on purpose to give Jews autism. That's what this is. It is a campaign.
I know. He's not making anybody else get vaccinated. No, he's actually identified, or the city has identified 4 zip codes where they are requiring this now.
Wow.
as part of this emergency.
They should just go into anywhere where there's an Erud, that
Just set up a
wire
little
that they've got
vaccination
set up.
stand.
Yeah, and just be like, okay, you've got an Erud. Everybody within this Erud has to get vaxxed.
Yeah, so it is a small group that feels that it is that these vaccinations are dangerous. Obviously, this is based on fake scientific claims about vaccines and the causes of vaccines and links to autism and et cetera. But the city has ordered religious schools and daycare programs serving that community to exclude unvaccinated students or risk being closed down.
Right.
285 measles cases have been identified at this point.
You know,
Now,
it's
the
so
thing
nice
about-
that we can go back to the safe, warm comfort of the 1830s or whatever. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
That we can visit there whenever we need
I
to.
know. Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
All we need is some pseudoscience, and back we go in the Wayback Machine.
Oh, it's fun, isn't it?
Time travel is real, people, and it involves denying science.
Putting your fingers in your ears.
Yeah.
Refusing to listen. to the fact that the vaccine is 97% effective. And when you have that 3% that it's not effective for, if you have a population that's been vaccinated, the whole population, the herd immunity comes into effect. And these diseases have a very hard time moving through the community. But when you have a hole in the community, then the surrounding that 3% of the surrounding population is now exposed.
Right. Yep.
And it's so fucking frustrating.
Yeah, it is. But that's what our show is. It's a series of very frustrating stories. Here's one that I actually think is good. Yeah, I think it's good.
It's a good story?
Yeah.
Those don't come around very often.
Here's the thing. We reported a few months ago about a Muslim man sentenced to death here in these United States. I don't remember what state it was, where he wanted an imam,
Alabama,
to go with him into the execution chamber rather than, because Christians always get a priest or a pastor.
Yep.
But there was no protocol for something other than that.
Right.
Well, this is a thing that crops up in other states too. And there was recently, so that guy was denied a postponement while they sorted that out, and he just got executed without his imam there.
Right.
Or his idad.
You're laughing alone on that one.
No, there's somebody out there who loved it. Anyway, so in Texas there was a recent one where the Supreme Court agreed to delay the execution of a man because he wanted a Buddhist clergyman inside the execution chamber. So Texas has been wrestling with this idea.
Oh yeah.
What do we do? Yeah. Do we let him have a Buddhist come in and do some hocus pocus on him?
Yeah, you do.
No, you don't.
What?
Texas has decided that their solution is no more clergy at all. I don't know. Maybe that's actually a bad thing. I'm changing my mind. I think it's like, if you're going to kill somebody, which I'm opposed to the death penalty, at least let them have one person who might feel like they're comforting. But
yeah,
yes.
you know what? I'd get anybody in there I could, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, if the only thing available to me was some Catholic priest or whatever, I would just be like, listen, here's the deal. Right?
Yeah.
I just want somebody to be there who is just kind of sort of on my side.
Right.
In these last moments.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear boo about Jesus.
No.
Right? I don't want you praying over me.
Right.
I want you to dig deep and see if you can just come in here and be a comfort. And if you can do that, then great.
Right.
And I would. Who cares? Who cares if it's a Catholic priest? Who cares who that person is? Right.
Well, but you care because if it's a Catholic priest,
but I'm saying if that's all you could possibly get, and I'm saying me as an atheist, right, in that situation, hopefully I'll never, murder someone
or be falsely accused of murder.
Or falsely accused of murder. But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so, and obviously, like, if you're wanting to have your clergyman there, whoever that is, and from whatever background, you would want yours.
Why is it so fucking hard? Why is it so hard to just say, oh, okay, we'll let you have whatever your clergy person is?
Because that person has to be trained, Dan.
Yeah, they do.
They have to be, and we have to trust them. And it's hard to trust Buddhists.
You don't have to trust them. You really don't. There are armed guards everywhere. It's not like this Buddhist monk is going to bust him out.
Right.
You know what I mean? You don't have to trust him at all. You just have to know. They just have to know the protocols, where to walk, what to do. It's
literally all you have to do.
It's a 1 hour video. Or not video, just a 1 hour of some guard's time.
I'm sorry, I would like to produce that video.
I know.
Welcome to the Texas State Correctional Facility.
Right.
I am so-and-so, so-and-so.
So
let me show you the proper way.
That's right.
To be with an inmate in their last hours.
Right.
as a member of the clergy.
Oh my God. It's such a stupid... Yeah, just let them have whoever they want, really.
It could be anyone. Who cares?
Their grocer, who they used to like a lot.
You should have execution doulas, basically.
Right. It should be a psychologist is who it should be.
No. Yeah, sure. But I want a doula.
Yes, exactly. And breathe. And we're going to summon our chi and just try to, envision a lovely place, a tranquil, maybe a stream or a beach somewhere, and breathe.
Yeah. Okay. And getting out the syringe.
And,
don't look.
We don't say the S word. Here comes your tranquility into your veins. Okay. Well, there you go.
Damn, that was dark.
Texas's answer to the how do we do this is let's make it just worse for the people.
I think that makes a lot of sense for Texas.
Yeah, it feels right.
Of course, that's the direction they would go.
It feels right for Texas. But at least it's all very
it's fair.
Fair.
Gross. I don't like fair. Sometimes fair isn't right.
Yeah, correct.
I think the right thing is just what we were just joking about.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
It can be anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. All right. Done. Time to move on.
Please do.
So Dan, we last week we made some predictions about, or at least we reported on some predictions about General Conference. Mormon General Conference.
Yes.
The grand affair that happens every year downtown Salt Lake City.
The big ball.
In the amazing indoor amphitheater.
in the what
they have built.
What is affectionately known as the Meganacle.
Yeah. Because the thing is big.
It holds 25,000 people.
Something along those lines. Yeah. And so we got on board with some predictions.
Yeah.
About coffee and tea and this and that.
Maybe.
And well, nothing came of those.
Not this session. I never thought that was going to be a general conference thing. I always thought that was just going to happen between conferences. So
just
we'll see.
Sneak it out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will see if that comes to be.
Right.
But they did have a big announcement right before General Conference.
Yeah.
Which is another time that big things can sometimes happen.
Yes.
They going back a few years, they had this really nasty policy about their LGBT, about children of LGBT parents, and who had been termed apostates by this policy.
If you went and got gay married, now you could be gay and Mormon,
right?
But
correct.
You had to do nothing. You had to basically put your fingers into those Chinese finger traps and never look at people ever again, and just basically not do anything.
Right.
You certainly couldn't gay at all.
No
gaying allowed.
No.
In any way. So if you definitely if you went and got married to a person of the same sex,
right,
you were now an apostate. Which was,
the married thing was what made you an apostate. That's correct. And then the kids of those folks were not eligible for baptism until they were adults.
Yeah.
So normally the age of baptism is 8.
Yeah.
But they were saying those kids had to wait until they were 18. And they then, at that point, also had to denounce their LGBT parents.
Right.
And acknowledge their state of apostasy.
Right.
So forth and so on.
Yeah, it was horrifically cruel. And it wasn't just baptism. Boys, when they turn 12, are supposed to get the priesthood, which it's boys and it's little kids, so it's like not a big deal. But it's a big deal if it's clear to the entire ward that you're not doing the steps.
Right.
That you're not doing, being ordained as a 12-year-old, and then as a different thing when you're a 14-year-old, and an even differenter thing when you're a 16-year-old. And they're all watching you not do these things.
Yeah, what's wrong with little Johnny? Oh, his mom's married to a woman.
Right. And
That's
this
what's wrong
policy
with
was
him.
horrific, and it led to a whole bunch of gay people, LGBT Mormons committing suicide.
Yeah.
And
It was bad.
And also, just the church started hemorrhaging people after this because it was a very clearly evil policy.
Right. Well, they backed off on it.
I know.
Last Thursday. They've changed the policy.
Just a full reversal.
Full reversal. Yeah. Easy enough. They did not, however, mention anything about it during General Conference.
No.
It was just sort of, they got it out there leading up to, it's done, it's over with.
And this is...
now LGBT parents, if they, I guess, chose to, their kids could be baptized.
Here's what's fucking infuriating about this.
Yeah.
Is that the LDS Church has, for years now, what they do is they enact something awful, or there's something awful that's been enacted that's just been a part of the thing, and there's an outcry.
Uh-huh.
And the people on the forefront of the outcry, the people who are most speaking out about it from within, because that's all they listen to is their members. They don't listen much to the outside world unless somebody's running for president or whatever. But
Right.
So you get somebody who's willing to like go onto the vanguard and stand out in front and say, this is not okay. We need to change this policy. This church is important to me, and I want us to be on the right side of things. And that person gets pilloried, gets excommunicated, gets treated like shit,
Right.
gets demonized
Right.
by the church and by members of the church.
Yep.
And then the church goes ahead and does the things that person was asking for the whole time.
Uh-huh.
And then no apology.
Never an apology.
No acknowledgement of the pain that they caused.
Right.
No acknowledgement that they ever did anything wrong.
Right.
Just, oh, well, the Lord says this now. We're done.
Right.
And that's that.
Because that's all the Lord said.
That's all the Lord said.
The Lord didn't say, I'm sorry.
The Lord didn't say...
The Lord would never apologize.
Oh, you guys need to apologize for that one. I was drunk that night when I gave you that revelation. We need to sort of say we're sorry about that.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
If nothing else, I hope that there is a whole lot of Mormons who have this, because Mormons have this belief in their they don't believe, or they don't officially, there's no official policy of an infallible prophet.
But it's built into the thing.
But when the prophet says, the Lord told me X, most Mormons are like, that is the Lord.
Yeah.
Done. No.
Who else
question.
could it be?
So here we have an obvious moment where the Lord has said X, then 3.5 years later, it's reversed.
Pretty quick turnaround.
Yeah.
It is a fascinating thing about this is that they didn't wait very long.
Right, yeah, exactly.
They waited almost just long. It's like they had instant buyer's remorse.
Right.
But they couldn't do it right away.
Right.
Because that makes them look wishy-washy.
Yeah.
And so they wait 3.5 years later.
Yeah. They wait until the guy who did it dies.
Right.
And then they wait another 1.5 years.
But as far as other developments at General Conference, it wasn't a monumental General Conference. However, they did get their first black member of like the Quorum of the 70.
It only took them till now.
Only until now.
To get a black guy. I mean, they've been letting them have the priesthood generously since 1978.
Oh, I know.
So really, this is a quick turnaround for them.
Yeah. So this guy, his name is Peter Johnson. He's a general authority 70 is what they call them.
Yeah. I love that the word for a member of the Quorum of the 70, which is an awkward title, but like they truncate it to just a 70. He's a 70.
He's a 70. Yeah. So anyway, so there's him. That happened.
They're building a bunch of stupid temples.
They're building a bunch of temples, and then Neil Anderson, who's in the Quorum of the 12, he gave a talk so this is right on the tail of this announcement about the LGBT shift in policy.
Yeah.
Of course, they had to make sure that they kind of reminded people exactly where they stand.
Right. We still
without referencing the thing.
We still hate gays, by the way.
He said that so his talk reinforced traditional ideas of marriage as being a sacred union between a man and a woman. And then he mentioned a friend of his that he's had for nearly 20 years who I, quote, admire greatly, is not married because of same-sex attraction. He has remained true to his temple covenants, has expanded his creative and professional talents, and has served nobly in both the church and the community.
You know what? I would bet money this is a made-up person. Or it's based on a person that he doesn't actually know.
He heard about this guy.
Yeah.
So that all happened. Ended up, not being very eventful. Because who cares about even the temple?
Who cares about any of this
stuff?
point? I'm going to do. My next story is.
Well,
also,
gee, thanks.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's just funny. It's interesting. I don't know. I'm going to do a Mormon thing real quick too, as one of my stories, which is just that. So we reported a while back that the LDS Church. Everybody heard about this. The LDS Church, said, don't call us Mormons anymore.
Right.
And don't call us LDS, too. And
it's really important.
The only thing you can call us is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints or the Church of Jesus Christ or...
After you've already called us the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints once.
Right.
Then you can use one of these truncated things, but not Mormons.
Right.
Ever.
Definitely never that. What's delightful to me... And I didn't see this coming. I actually thought that the press would probably just, okay, fine, sort of reluctantly go with what they said. They've ignored it
Completely.
Even Utah press, which I figured would, they kowtow quite a bit.
Well, the Tribune is owned by a Mormon.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's our liberal paper.
I think
is owned by a Mormon.
Even the Deseret News, that it's owned by the church.
They haven't switched yet.
Hasn't made a full switch. No, because everybody's just like, come on, man. We know there are easier ways to do this.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. They also put themselves in a bit of a pickle because their own website was they had Mormon.org, they had LDS.org. These were all things.
LDSnewsroom.org.
Right.
Yeah.
So now they've got the Mormon Tabernacle Choir was the thing. So they had to change that. Now
it's Tabernacle Choir at Temple Square.
Right. Which everybody calls T-Cats now.
Motab was better.
Motab was better than T-Cats. That's just objectively true. Well, they've finally made the switch to one of their new URLs. And it's causing a little bit of a stir because the URL that they've moved to is where is it? churchofjesuschrist.org. Which...
Well, so they're breaking their own rule. You're only supposed to use that
right.
After you've used the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints already.
Right. It should be a redirect. You should have to type Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.org and it redirects to that. Which I'm guessing probably would happen. I haven't tried it. Anyway, I think it's funny because a lot of other churches are like, what the fuck? You're not the Church of Jesus Christ.
Right.
We were all around before you.
Right.
There are several congregations that are called literally the entirety of their name is the Church of Jesus Christ.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And these guys are taking the URL because they got the money for it.
Right.
You and I looked on the Wayback Machine.
Yeah, it used to be owned by somebody else.
It used to be owned by somebody else who, if they were smart, made a lot of money off of the sale of that URL.
Right. Yeah.
They may not have been so smart because the LDS Church is very smart and probably didn't tell them that it was the LDS Church coming a knocking.
Right, exactly.
But they definitely made some money off of that. But yeah, there's a whole slew of other churches that are just like, you guys, you don't get that. But there you go. Now they are the Church of Jesus Christ.
Fantastic. Good on them.
Good for them.
They needed that. It's a little boost.
Yeah.
For old Rusty. What will be interesting is in a few years when he's dead, when they decide to just resurrect all the old URLs.
Start saying Mormon again and stuff. Oh, my God.
Well, Dan, here's a headline.
Yeah?
Yoga does not make inmates gay.
Damn it! We were trying so hard. to gay up the prison yards, but apparently it's not happening.
This story comes to us from Moscow, Russia.
Okay.
Okay. So
where this is a very big concern.
Apparently, at a women's detention facility in Moscow, they'd introduced yoga classes and were getting great results. They reported that they saw a decline in visits to the infirmary.
Oh.
And there seemed to be sort of maybe even like a boost in sort of morale amongst the inmates, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
You want happy prisoners.
Sure.
If you can get them. Well, that all was fine until a theological professor by the name of Alexander Dvorkin wrote up a document that suggested yoga could cause uncontrolled sexual arousal and homosexuality in detention centers, leading to riots.
Oh my God!
So
wow,
there was
and I'm sure that was all backed by science. None of that was just
theological professor,
wild conjecture on the part of a deranged Jesus freak.
I just like this is like. Are you familiar with an old subgenre of film, the female prison film?
Oh yeah,
subgenre, right?
Oh yeah, hot.
Yeah, and prison. You know, there would be a lot of fights and
according to B movies, women's prison is only sexy.
It's sex and sexy fighting.
And sexy fighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So apparently that's where Dvorkin got a lot of his information about prisons.
Which one of those? I want to know which B movie, which like B women's prison movie had yoga in it.
I guarantee you.
Willing to bet 0. He was just off in his own fantasy
by the
world.
Sexiness.
He was in his own fantasy world, and he was like, "Oh, if they were doing yoga." Wait a minute. And then he read about the actual yoga that was happening in prisons. And
unfortunately, the report got into the hands of Senator Elena Mizulina, who is renowned for her conservative views.
Right.
And she appealed to the prosecutor general's office to check on the legality of yoga classes.
Is that even? Yeah. Is it even legal?
Surely there must be a law somewhere that says that we cannot have yoga classes in our prisons.
In Russia, that seems like it might be true.
It's actually quite possible.
Yeah.
Anyway, the classes were temporarily suspended. They have been reinstated. And there's this wonderful, actually kind of amazing interview that one Mr. Valery Maximenko, who's the deputy head of the Federal Prison Service. This interview was on a Russian radio station. And he was talking about the, quote, very positive effects that the yoga was having on the inmates. He says that they conducted a study. They found that the people who practice, this is where they don't need to be going to the doctor as much, this kind of stuff. And then he says the whole world is engaged in yoga and no one is harmed by it and no one will be drawn to homosexuality. Even if it did, we live in a democracy and everyone has the right to choose their own way. Okay, this is a Russian official, right? And he pointed out that homosexuality was not illegal in Russia.
Right.
He said that Dvorkin had outdated concepts and added that, quote, people of non-traditional orientation can occupy high positions. We do not have the right to condemn anyone. Anyway.
That sounds
like he's going to be condemned.
Yeah, that's a guy who's going to be doing some yoga, some prison yoga soon.
But I just thought that I was like, what? That was an unexpected take, and direction that the guy went. Right, all he had to do was say, "Listen, it doesn't cause that horrible thing that we've basically outlawed."
Right,
right. And instead, he's like, "And I've got some good friends who are gay."
Right. Yeah. He went that extra step.
Yeah. Some of my best friends are gay.
Right. Some of the guys that I have the most sex with are gay.
Right.
Anyway,
I'm not.
Not me though. I'm going to close out with, later in the show we're going to be talking about Easter. I wanted to talk about a certain Easter celebration that's going to be happening that I think is very important because the one thing that I've been really worried about is these kids at Coachella. They, it's going to be happening on Easter.
Oh no.
And they're not going to have their services. They're going to miss out on Easter.
Oh.
Well, not anymore.
Oh no.
Because Praise Yeezy, where Kanye's coming to the rescue.
No, of course it's Kanye.
And it really is. And let me tell you something. This is a resurrection of Yeezy.
Oh.
Who had been denied, or rather who dropped out of Coachella.
Oh.
Apparently because they refused to build him a dome. He was like, I want a dome. And they were like, no, we're not going to do that. And he was like, well, then I'm not coming.
Okay.
But he's decided to come because apparently he has been hosting regularly a very elite, very you can't go unless you know everybody thing that he calls Sunday service.
Okay.
Where he brings in a whole bunch of musicians and whatever. And he doesn't have a preacher, apparently, according to his wife, Kim Kardashian. But there's no sermon. It's just music.
Oh,
but she says, quote, it's definitely something he believes in, Jesus. And there's a Christian vibe, but there's no preaching.
No.
So he's apparently bringing this to the masses. Sunday service, Easter time. No word on what Easter egg color he's going to be dyeing his hair for the event. But
well, nice, good.
There you go.
I mean, it sounds relatively harmless.
Yeah.
No preaching.
Yeah, I mean, but he does have some Jesus-y songs. Most of them are brought himself because he does think that he is God, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I mean, he did nickname himself Jesus.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Unreal. Okay.
Saving the day, everybody. So there you go. Hey, if you guys have any questions about Jesus and would like to know more, we'll send you a missionary if you write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or Colin leaves a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
That's right. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, which, if you had been there, you would have seen my Facebook live
streaming
from the event. You can still see it. It's still on there.
Yeah.
But
how many views at this point?
Last time I checked, I don't know.
A billion views.
Over 500 at least.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So there you go.
That's a hit, Dan.
People are watching.
That is an online hit.
I make no guarantees as to the quality of the thing, but you can go and watch it if you want to. Facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And there's something else you can do on Facebook while you're there. You can search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join. It is a closed group, which is what makes, the fact that it's closed is what makes it great because it's moderated. And only those that are know the password.
Well, and it's and like your friends and family won't know what it is because it doesn't say atheist anywhere on it.
Yeah, exactly. Dan.
Yes.
We got some a little clip that we need to listen to.
Oh, this guy has figured it out.
Jesse Lee Peterson.
We've had him on before. He's the sleepy-eyed betrayer of his own race.
Oh no!
Who loves to? He's got his own little radio show,
and he likes to talk. And he wow, but he is a bizarre figure. He's just the stances that he takes are just baffling.
Yeah, it's great. So he's going to start by telling you the stance that he's taking, and that's fine, but stick around for the reason why this is happening, because that's the juice. That's the real beauty of this particular clip.
I am blown away how there are people in our country who have no shame about being wrong now. And that wrong is being accepted as right. And that you have mere lesbians. I think we got more than one in the country. And homosexuals and men and women who are living together without being married and Muslims and all the wrong kind of people running our country. And it's like they are becoming first-class citizens while the Christians, the men and women of God, are becoming second-class citizens. Good is being hidden away while evil is being promoted as good. And the reason all this is happening, while all these lesbians and homosexuals and men and women living together and Muslims and others are taking over, because of the women vote. There are more women voting because they say there are more women in America than men, right? And they are voted for the wrong thing, folks, the wrong people, the wrong emotional reason. And the reason they're doing it because they don't have men to say, no, don't vote for that person. That's wrong. Here's why it's why it's wrong. They don't have men leading the way, and then women have convinced the men to vote for the homosexuals and other people.
Well, that went a direction I wasn't expecting.
I love it. His complaint, as I understand it, is women get to vote.
Yeah.
This is a problem.
It is a problem. We've basically been experimenting with suffrage for the last 100 years or so, right?
Yeah.
Like on the national level.
It's time to repeal it.
I think it's time. Yeah.
It was cute that we let him do it for a minute.
It's been a good experiment. But look at everything bad that happened after suffrage.
I mean,
we had, look at the wars. In World War II, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
We had the Great Depression.
Yeah.
We had the social upheaval of the 60s and 70s.
And now lesbian mayors.
Lesbian mayors. We live in a city with a lesbian mayor. And it's a horror. And mainly because she's just a bad mayor. Has nothing to do with her sexuality.
It has been a bad thing for Salt Lake City. Not a horrible thing.
It hasn't been that bad, but she's made some bad moves.
She's not our favorite mayor.
No.
I will say this. Muslims sound scary.
Muslims.
Because I don't know if you've encountered a moose before, but they can hurt you.
That's a dangerous animal.
It is a dangerous animal.
Yeah.
People they think they look all cuddly and horse-like, but they will hurt you.
They will destroy you.
I want to see a Muslim. I want to see a moose that before it attacks yells, Allahu Akbar! and then attacks you.
There you go. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
That's what a Muslim is. It's got to be, right? I don't know what else it could be.
Wow, this guy, he is every bit of crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
He's amazing.
What?
I love it. It's great.
I want to live in his world for just a minute. just to maybe get some kind of understanding of how crazy or bizarre.
We all want to live in his world.
What would that be like?
I don't want to live in that world. Hey, I want to talk about something that you and I haven't talked about for a long time.
What is that, Dan?
Shaving.
Oh, indeed.
I want to talk about shaving because, look, today's broadcast, ladies and germs, is brought to you once again by Harrys.com.
Yeah.
In part.
In part by.
Not a lot by, but in part by. But I do want to talk about them because you and I both use Harry's.
Yeah.
We are users of the product.
Did you notice my cheeks?
Oh,
and neck
so clean and shaven. Mine too.
Yeah,
mine too.
And that's thanks to a Harry's razor.
Do you use the Harry's cream?
The shave foam
gel?
is it's actually fantastic.
Genuinely
fantastic. I mean, the whole kit and caboodle is fantastic. But I love the shave gel.
Yeah.
I actually really like the smell of it.
Yeah.
It's a really nice, clean smell that isn't overpowering and just kind of sticks with you for a couple hours, and you just feel clean and all spruced up.
Listen, 10 million people have tried this. Have tried Harry's.com.
Seriously.
And there's no danger in doing this. You are not locked into anything. You can try it. Here's the offer. You get a $13 value trial set that comes with everything you need for a close, comfortable shave. You get the weighted ergonomic handle.
It's nice.
The 5-blade razor with lubricating strip and trimmer
very
blade.
Comfortable shave.
Yeah. The rich lathering shave gel that we've been raving about. Travel blade cover. And listeners to this show can get it all if they just go to harrys.com/TGIA, which is so super easy.
Yeah.
And you get the free trial. We get some recognition from Harry's. It makes us look good to them. And you get this free thing. And then if you don't like it, cancel. It's fine.
Yeah.
And if you do like it, they'll just send it to you. You don't have to think about it.
Right.
It just comes to you in the mail.
Yeah.
When you need a new one.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, this is starting to... Oh, good. Here's a new one. Ding. They will interrupt your sentence to yourself. You will be talking to yourself. Oh, I probably need a new... Ding dong. There's your Harry's.
Just like that.
Yeah. The second you think about it, go check your mailbox.
And not for nothing, Dan.
Yeah.
And it's, thanks to Harry's, I actually haven't bought a razor at the supermarket in quite a while.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I remember those prices and the horror
Yeah.
of spending. It was like $20 for replacement blades.
Yeah.
Or cartridges or whatever they're called. And like, seriously, ridiculously priced.
You want to know how much a Harry's replacement cartridge is?
How much?
$2.
Say that's awesome.
That is a reasonable, even good price for a super high quality 5-blade cartridge.
Yeah. Well, what it says to me, and what it proves to me, is those supermarket brands. I feel a little ripped off.
They were ripping us off the whole time. Enough.
Yeah.
Go to harrys.com/TGIA. Get your free trial. See if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. No harm.
Yeah.
No foul. And yeah, just try it out.
Perfect. All right, Dan.
Yes.
As always, we have some people to thank.
We do.
I want to thank our Pantheon, our top donors.
Yes.
Our lords and saviors.
Long
All
may
of
they
them,
wave.
Right? We have Jash.
Yes.
Scott. Melissa. Dee, Hannah, Liz, and Judy. They're all tied in this top donor position. We appreciate their support. We appreciate all of our Patreon support. And if you'd like to become one, you can go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on the support tab. From there, you have a couple of different options. If you'd like to be a patron on Patreon, you can follow that link. There's also, if you just want to give one time, you can go to PayPal. And
it's what keeps our show going. It really is
legitimately is what keeps the show
only
going.
thing that it's the real thing that keeps us going.
No, that's for real.
Yeah,
and
so we need you. So yes, go to Thank God I'm
and
Atheist.
We could use more of you.
Yeah, we need more of you. Thank you. So please, if you've been thinking about it, just do it. Go to thankgodimatheist.com and then just click on the Patreon button and
it's all done.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, Dan. Easter. Easter, Dan.
Yes. Easter.
I remember being a little kid, and I remember the house that we lived in, and I remember my mom making a big deal about how the Easter Bunny was out in the backyard putting putting the Easter eggs, and I couldn't go look out the back windows.
Oh,
right, and I
so
was just
mean.
like, right? And so, and I was like, the Easter Bunny. And it was like my first time that I was probably like 3 or 4.
Right.
And I started sort of grilling her on like, what do you mean the Easter Bunny? And she's like, well, it's this big bunny and it comes around on Easter and it hides eggs, colorful eggs and little treats out in the grass. And then you get to go around and you get to like go find them. And I remember in my head thinking about a big giant bunny, and it honestly wasn't that far off from the bunny in Donnie Darko. Like,
oh yeah, I had the time. I was like, you saw Donnie Darko when you were 4? It wasn't out then. What are you talking?
No, like it was this scary bunny.
You imagined a nightmarish bunny.
I had a nightmarish bunny in my head,
God,
and
that's
I remember
funny.
just being like, "What in the fuck is she talking about?
This is.
This
I don't
sounds like
wanna go
a
out.
horror."
I don't
And
wanna
then-
go out.
And then, of course, I was let out into the yard, and it was delightful.
Right.
Great big fun. There were all these colorful eggs everywhere.
Oh.
Right. And
We never did the yard thing. It was all indoor.
you searched for the eggs indoors?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. It was never a thing at our house.
That's interesting.
My parents were older. Maybe it's something to do with that.
So they would hide the eggs around the living room?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, ours was always outside. Always.
Yeah. Here's the thing.
Interesting.
Here's what's baffling to me about, like, everybody talks, yes, the origin of all of those, everything you just talked about is sort of pagan spring rituals.
Yeah.
All of the sort of, the
Fertility.
things and whatever. That's what eggs mean. That's what bunnies mean because
Yeah.
they breed like rabbits. And
Another one I'm not laughing at.
No, that wasn't funny at all. We can do, but we don't have to stop and talk about it. We could just move on. Anyway, and we all know that. But here's what's funny to me. I have fond memories of Easter because candy is fun and everybody and families love it. As Mormons here, they love it. They dress their kids up in they buy a new Easter dress every year for their little girls, and maybe some new clothes for their boys, and they dress them all up so cute, and they get them all pretty, and they get them all looking good, and then they get to go and they have a basket, and they gather their eggs, and they gather their candy, and it's just what a treat! Oh, it's so fun! And now let's watch a snuff film about Jesus. And they let their children watch the most horrific movies about like a man being tortured, bleeding, and then hung up and then killed in the most horrific way they can imagine. Right. And they let the children watch it.
Yeah. And then,
what the fuck are you doing?
Well, but he comes back to life, and then that means you get to come back to life.
And that means bunnies and chocolate.
Yeah, it's all fucked up and weird.
I was so confused about the correlation between chocolate bunnies and Jesus. I couldn't figure it out. I knew that they were related somehow.
They're not. They literally, like, it is the most bizarre holiday. Like, somehow Christmas finds a way. Right, we were talking about this earlier. Like there's the secular side of it, there's the pagan side of it, and then there's the Christian side of it, and it all just kind of meshes together. And somehow the consumerism of the whole thing distracts you from like what's not working right about the whole thing.
It
just kind of
feels integrated.
It comes together.
Yeah,
Easter has not come together. It just doesn't work. It's a mess of a holiday.
Here's the thing,
an absolute mess.
If you're on this side of the equator, this north half of the equator, it's starting to feel like spring, and it's exciting, and you've made it through winter, and that's what it's all about.
Right.
Now this year we got a super late Easter.
Yeah.
It should have actually been almost a month earlier. Because of the way that they calculate when Easter happens, it is the first Sunday after a full moon that's after a certain thing. And that technically happened, like if you go by the astrological calendar.
Yeah.
Or astronomical calendar.
There you go.
Thank you. It should have happened back in March.
Oh, really?
But they go by an ecclesiastical calendar of when a full moon happens and when the thing happens. And so
and of course, like most things ecclesiastical, it's not based on reality.
It's just a little bit fuzzier. so now we're having it in late April instead of
it can sometimes happen early-ish May, can't it? Go that late?
I don't know.
It's so weird how
it's
it
within
slides
one
around
lunar.
year.
Yeah, exactly. Anywho,
what a mess. Maybe that's part of the problem is that they just need to pick a day.
Just pick a
day, and then we can the retail can get on board with this whole thing. It's too hard to predict.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
You need all these.
You need 4 abacuses and a slide rule to sort it all out.
And a sextant.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny. Yeah, it's funny because they don't have to do it that way. That is, it's based. The date of that is based on Passover, and the date of Passover.
But Passover and Easter aren't always on the same, are they?
No, because Passover doesn't have to be on a Sunday. It's bullshit. It's all just bullshit, and it's confusing, and it's.
I'm now even more confused.
Yeah, you should be, and stay that way. I don't. They could have just done it on Passover, but they wanted it not to be the same as the Jew. They were already co-opting a bunch of pagan things. They didn't want to be seen as co-opting the Jewish thing as well, so they had to do their own.
Well, I don't know about that. In Italian, Easter is Pasqua. That's the word for Easter.
Oh, really?
And Passover is Pasqua. Same word.
Interesting.
Kind of blew my mind.
Yeah, they're celebrating Passover.
But they aren't.
But they aren't.
Pasqua.
But they are. Interesting. All right, well, it's just a weird holiday. Do you have fond memories of it?
It's not. No, because
it's not as joyful as Christmas.
It's got so much religious overtones still.
Yeah.
Right. That because there was always like a really Jesus-y Sunday at church, right? Like it was all Jesus all the time. And then, but everybody's like, but there is sort of this festiveness to it. But you couldn't really enjoy it because it's Sunday and you have to be reverent.
You still have to go to church.
And you have to wear your Sunday best clothes all fucking day.
Right.
And
I don't remember it being that fun. It wasn't
fun.
I remember being
Easter
happy
egg
about
hunt was like the only morsel of fun.
Yeah.
Right? And it's really not that fun.
And that was fun, but
you could go outside and run around a little bit.
And you get candy, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And hard boiled eggs, which
all children love hard boiled eggs.
If there's one thing, if you get a choice between chocolate and a hard boiled egg, you're gonna go for that hard boiled egg. You're gonna go for a blue.
It is a little bit of a bait and switch as for a little kid, right?
It looks so
you're gonna go
fun.
outside and run around and collect all these things. Awesome. The things that you're collecting are the last thing you want to eat. Great.
Cool. An egg.
Thank you.
Cool.
Guess I'll go make myself a sandwich.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Do you have salt, I guess, or whatever? I don't know.
Well, come here. Help me crack this. Get into it.
Oh, good. Shell. I ate some shell. That's great.
Yeah.
This has been a great day. We're all very happy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jesus.
Worst religious holiday ever. Just the worst.
It's better than Passover.
Well, as with most things, the Christians kind of scored on the holidays.
Yeah, I guess so. Anyway,
but not even then. They're just awful. They're all awful.
Stupid. I now it's fun. It is fun that now one of the possible traditions that you could have if you wanted to is to go to the American Atheist Convention, which every year is on Easter weekend.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going with the other boys from the How to Heretic.
Right.
But also, you can just, now in Salt Lake, there's a party that happens every year at the garage called the Bunny Hop, and that's fun. It's fun to celebrate Easter alternatively with booze and whatever. Anyway, I don't know. Maybe you guys can send in some Easter traditions that you either have established since you left religion or wacky ones that you had when you were in the religion. I don't know. I don't know how everybody did Easter. I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can write to us, podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Indeed. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist. Click on that like button.
And while there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge to request to join. It is a closed group, but we will let you in. You can also follow us on Twitter and find us over at Reddit.
Yeah, I did some live tweeting on the Twitter feed.
Look for us, TGI Atheist.
Yes, indeed. Speaking of the social media, thanks so much go out to Mackenzie for all of her hard work on the Facebook page. Thanks to Danny and Amy for their work as moderators in the Members Only Lounge.
And a big thanks goes out to the Red Arc Hot Club for the use of their music, and also to Gordon Johnston for the use of his music.
And bigger thanks to all of you for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Bye.